So welcome to Teach for the Bay. I can't, it's harder for me to multitask these days, and then the heat doesn't help. You are at the Interested in Transfer, Consider a Private College workshop, and we have some great reps for you this afternoon from different colleges in the area. They're going to talk to you about entering their college for transfer. Also, I assume we're going to mention some financial aid opportunities because cost is always an issue for our students. And Teach for the Bay has had a pretty strong showing from our students yesterday and today. We also had some high school student classes watching, so we may even have some classes here, I'm not sure. I did mention that entire classes are going to be watching this recording, and so this is being recorded. So welcome. And as I continue to let people in, I'm going to kick this off. Welcome to Teach for the Bay. And here is our panel for today. We have Hector Camacho from REACH. We have Mary Cohen from USF. We have Kelly Vaughn from Notre Dame. We have Alicia and, let's see, that was an Amy, right? Amy and Alicia from Edvance, and Monica from St. Mary's. And they will be talking about each of their institutions, what they offer specifically to this sector. So ECE and EDU for teacher preparation, ECE, and they'll have about 8 minutes each, I believe, as I'm continuing to let people in. Sorry. So I'm going to start advancing, and I think Hector, I have a few more announcements. Sorry. Thank you to our Teach for the Bay steering committee. We've had great representation for Teach for the Bay from colleges around the San Francisco Bay region. Some of these folks you've probably seen as presenters already, but great participation this year. And thank you especially to Tracy Burt, who is our conference coordinator, and for the faculty at City College of San Francisco, and the staff who worked on that program and the social media, and it was a great collaborative effort this year. So, and we had, I believe the count was 600 people already participate. We're trying to keep the numbers up. I think we had 598 as of yesterday, and we're in the 600s today. So it's been a great turnout. We also have workshops tomorrow and Saturday. So keep coming, they're free, why not? Lots of great information. And all of our students and participants have said they've enjoyed the participation and the energy. We've got a plenary session tomorrow. We've got a workshop from San Jose State. Oh, we already did Show Me the Money. So that one we'll have that recording if you missed it. It was on financial aid. And I would suggest if you think about transfer, you may want to look at that workshop because there were some great tips in there. Hector, you're going to be going first. So I'm happy to introduce Hector Camacho from REACH. And he's going to talk to you about what REACH University is and what they offer. And Hector, just tell me when you need me to advance a slide. Okay?
Sounds good. Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. I'm really excited to share about REACH's programs. And I'd like to start with this first slide because REACH has from day one always been an institution for working adults. So my name is Hector Camacho. I am the Senior Vice President at REACH University, and I work with all of our partners throughout the state of California. I started at the community college myself, knowing I wanted to teach. Problem was I didn't know how to get there. So I started working as a teacher's assistant, a bilingual teacher's assistant, and I did that all the time that I was at community college. And I really, really liked community college. I liked it so much that I stayed there for 5 years, which is not always an uncommon experience. But let me tell you a little bit more about REACH. We started in 2006 out of Oakland. So our headquarters is in Oakland. And we are a nonprofit, regionally accredited organization designed specifically for working adults. So all of our programs are job embedded. So similar to maybe what you might have seen in high school where you had like a work experience program, that's kind of what REACH does. So all of our candidates are working in a California public school as teachers' aides. If they're working on their credential, maybe they're working as a teacher of record, or maybe they're clearing their credential or working on administrative credential. everyone is working. And that's a really important part of all of REACH's programs. So every single person you encounter is working in a school. That's important to us because we have job embedded programs, meaning that what you're doing in your day job working in a school is very, very connected to what you're doing when you're taking courses with us online in the evening. And so our classes are a little different. I don't usually like to use the term distance learning because ours are actually classrooms that are moved to synchronous online Zoom rooms. So you will be in a classroom with a professor, with your colleagues, really engaging together in the material. So on the next slide, I'll show you a little bit about our pathways. So one of the ones that I really want to focus on here is for folks in the room who are about to finish their associate's degree or at that 60 unit mark, because the pathway that's easiest for you all to bachelor's degree through REACH is coming with that associate's degree in hand. So once you come to REACH University with an associate's, you will have 2 more years to earn your Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies while you are working. We only offer this one undergraduate degree. That again is a Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies. And we built that intentionally because we know that many of our candidates are interested in teaching at the lower grades level. So they might be interested in a multiple subjects credential. And so that BA in Liberal Studies will give them a head start in terms of being able to meet what's called subject matter competency. And so we chose that degree on purpose. We also have individuals who want to teach at the high school or middle school level. They just have an additional step that they have to do, which is to take an exam called the CSET, if you haven't heard of that. And then with this new PK3 credential, that's a whole other thing. REACH doesn't do PK3. We do credentialing in multiple and single subject. But just to let you know a little bit more about what we do. So fully job embedded, it's connected to your work that you're doing in the school. Our classes happen after work hours because we know that work, like if you were like me when I was going to school, I had to work. I didn't have the option to not work. And so our classes take place in the evening on Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. And they're clusters of classes. So rather than having to navigate from English class to science class to math class, which means you have to shift your brain each one of those transitions, your professor actually stays put and teaches those different classes within one session. And so it really feels like you're, instead of taking 4 to 5 classes, even though that's what it says on your transcript, it feels more like you're taking 2 classes at a time because your professors become the constant there. And speaking of those professors, what we really like about REACH is since we only focus on education at REACH, not all of our professors, the overwhelming majority of our professors are what are called professors of practice. These are practicing teachers, principals, superintendents, assistant superintendents, whose job is to help learners. And so they're doing that also with all of our candidates during our classes. But we know that it's more than just academics. And so everyone also is provided with a one-on-one candidate advisor who helps them navigate school while when things like life happen, right? How do I engage with my professor? How do I ask this question? I have some caregiving needs. Like what do you suggest I do? Your advisor is there to help get you to the graduation finish line. Because at the end, we want everyone to have their degree in hand, and we want them to be well prepared for if they choose to continue on to a teacher credentialing program. So when you finish your Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies, you can go to REACH's intern teacher credential program. You could go to a local student teacher program or a residency program, whatever you'd like. We just want to get you there. One of the big sellers of our program is the cost. So we've built a program that revolves around making it as simple as possible for candidates. So everyone that is working in a California public school will only pay a maximum of $75 per month. I say that maximum because there are some school districts that have additional resources to bring that cost down to 0, but that's on a school district by school district level. But at a maximum, a candidate will pay $75 per month. REACH University does the fundraising for that to work. So some candidates might be Pell eligible, and that might be contributing to their tuition. Some candidates might be receiving other grants. And anyone that's not receiving any of those things, we will scholarship it down to $75 a month because we firmly believe that anyone that wants to work with children should not have to go into student debt to do that. And so there are no student loans attached with REACH University programs. It is all through scholarships and grants. The only thing required to access that tuition contribution is that you do have to complete the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act every year. And it includes all costs, including your books and materials. The only thing it doesn't include is you have to bring your own laptop and your own access to the internet service. One thing that I'm super excited to share too on the next slide is for those of you who are coming on in a 2-year pathway, traditionally what you would do if you do an intern teacher credential program is you would finish your bachelor's degree with us for 2 years, and then you would enter an intern program and master's program for 2 years. Well, if you click it one more time, Kathleen, we actually have a program where candidates can during their final year of their bachelor's program, actually start their master's and pre-intern work so that instead of it being 2 years for degree and 2 years for credential, it becomes 2 years for degree plus 1 year for your credential and your master's degree. So that's a really exciting option that we have at Reach University, which you're welcome to ask questions about that, but I'll save the time for this, but just want to let you all know about that one. Lastly, eligibility. It's on the next slide. What's really neat is that because everyone is working, that means that a school district has already said you are a great candidate for working with students. And that's a super high bar for us. And so our bar for reach is you've got to be 18. You have to have a high school diploma, GED, high set, some sort of equivalency. And really, that is the entrance criteria. Now, as I mentioned, you do have to be working at least 15 hours per week with children in an academic classroom setting. So once some of you might already be placed in an ECE facility, if you're in the ECE pathway or in a school already, you can keep that job. If you don't have a placement right now, trust me, schools are hiring and they want associate's degree holders, particularly if you have ECE or a pre-education studies program. So if you don't have a job lined up, a school district will want you, especially with your associate's degree in hand. So you've got to have those 15 hours per week. And then we ask 2 short answer questions, and then you'll want to send a copy of your official transcripts. And finally, on the last slide, we are admitting right now for the spring term. So if you're finishing up your associate's degree, you can apply now through the end of the month. It says October 15th, but I actually keep the app open a little bit longer through the end of the month. We start everyone with a orientation course in mid-November, and then actual classes start in January. If that timeline is too tight for you, we admit for the fall term. Application opens for that on February 1st. So that'll be folks that will start in late August. The application is free at apply.reach.edu, and I think that's all for me.
Thank you, Hector. That was very concise, right on time. Thank you very much. And I do want to mention that as more and more high school students are taking dual enrollment courses, they are coming in with, I looked at okay, it must be 18. Well, yes, but we've actually had some students who have quite a few units when they're 18 years old and maybe are very close to finishing their lower division pathway at a community college. So dual enrollment is growing. And I think, that's our state chancellor has that as a priority to make sure that every high school student graduates with 15 units from a community college. So we're going to see more students who I think bring transcripts with them when they're 18.
That's amazing. And can I just add, Kathleen, the transfer in for associates is any major. Any major.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be ECE or pre-ed. It can be any major that will put you on that 2-year pathway.
Okay, thank you, Hector. Okay, we next have Mary Cohen from USF right here in San Francisco. Welcome, Mary, and you can tell me when to advance the slides.
Okay, you can go to the first slide. Hi, welcome everyone. I'm happy that you're here and interested in becoming a teacher. We need you. Our programs at the University of San Francisco are integrated undergraduate programs that lead to also 1 year in the grad school, and so a bachelor's, a credential, and a master's degree. And what I mean by integrated is that you would transfer to USF, and at whatever point you transfer, you would continue working on your major and your gen ed requirements while at the same time taking credential coursework towards the teaching credential. And you could also possibly adopt a minor or even possibly study abroad, depending on how many units you transfer in. One of our goals is to have your experience be very much a typical undergraduate experience. So you get to have that undergraduate experience that you thought you would have. So it doesn't feel separate from that. So we work with our transfer students to maximize on what they're bringing in, to count for as many major and gen ed requirements as possible, and then get you set on your way. We will work with you to develop a plan. So if you were to meet with one of our advisors, you would actually see what the trajectory of your future at USF looked like. So that's basically the way that we recommend getting more information, is to set up a meeting, because there's a lot of moving parts to becoming a teacher, and even more when you're trying to do it while you're an undergrad. So we can move to the next slide. So we have the 4+1, which we call the dual degree program. And as I said, you would be working on your undergraduate degree at the same time as taking teacher credential coursework. And then you would graduate with your bachelor's and move on to 1 year in our grad school for your to finish out your credential and your master's. You would be doing your student teaching in that year as well. In the undergraduate portion, you would also be doing field work. So all of our students are in the field in local public schools. We place students in SFUSD. We also place students in Catholic schools or private schools, depending on what they want to experience, what they think they might want to see before they decide in which direction they're going to go. All of our students do need to do at least one placement within SFUSD, though. We also have the 4+1+1 and the 4+2. Both of those programs are for students who are interested in special education. The 4+1+1 is for students who are interested in both, who feel that they would like to be able to teach in a gen ed classroom, a general education classroom, and possibly then also in a special education classroom. Then the 4+2 is for students who really just want to focus on special education. So the 4+1+1 is our 4+1 program. And then you add 1 more year and you also get your special education credential and a master's in special education. So you get 2 credentials and 2 masters. The 4+2, you would do your undergraduate taking some of the credential coursework, and then you would move into the 2-year special education program that we have at USF. So we have a variety of programs, and as I said, the best way for you to find out what would work best for you is to actually meet with one of our advisors. And we're happy to give you advice while you're at your other institution. So let's say you just started at a community college and your plan is to stay there for 2 years. You can meet with one of our advisors and we can give you advice on what's best to take while you're still at community college, so that you end up at USF maximizing on all that you've taken. Next slide, please. So we do offer multiple subjects and single subject credentials, and also special ed, as I said. Our students can major in any major out of the College of Arts and Sciences. Most popular major at this time, though, is Education Liberal Studies. We do have a lot of psychology majors and sociology majors as well for the multiple subjects. And then for single subject, the students tend to be in English, history, math, or one of the sciences. And our special education candidates can also major in any College of Arts and Sciences major. The add-ons that we have for our programs are the Master of Arts in Teaching. We also have a Master of Arts in Special Education. We have a Master of Arts in Teaching Reading. We have also the ability to add the bilingual authorization to any of our credentials. So anyone who has language ability can add the bilingual authorization and be able to teach in a bilingual environment, which is highly needed right now. So that could be added to any one of our credentials in any one of the master's programs. We also have another master's program, which is not on this list, which we just newly have been able to collaborate with. And it's the Master of Arts in Urban Ed and Social Justice. And many of our students are opting to add that versus any of the other masters. Next slide. So just in a quick overview, just some of the things that the highlights or the important things that you might get by going through one of our programs. It puts you on an accelerated professional track. So you're getting your bachelor's just like every other student that's going to college as an undergrad, but you're also taking professional coursework at the same time, and it gets you there a little more quickly by shaving off at least a half year or a full year in the graduate portion. It helps or it enables you to bring all the theory that you're getting in your credential coursework into practice in the field work that you'll be doing. We also have the opportunity for many of our candidates to work with organizations that are in schools. So they're getting paid while they're working in the school, in addition to the field work that they're doing. By going through a UTech program at the University of San Francisco, you would save time and you'd save money. I mentioned already about saving time, but with regard to saving money, all of those credential classes that you're taking are actually taken with no additional tuition paid. So you just would be paying your whatever tuition you were paying to get your undergraduate degree, and then you would also be taking those credential courses out of the graduate school. And as far as financial resources that are available, our students are able to apply for the Golden State Teacher Grant. Also, many of our students are receiving the Teach Grant. And we also have a volunteer program through the School of Ed for the 5th year, where you can get a 40% tuition discount by volunteering in a school for about 3 hours a week, which is a significant discount. There are always some other ways of supporting your education financially, depending on, the state will sometimes offer grants, and then private organizations will also. So our financial aid office will be able to help direct you to some of those as well. And then a big benefit is that you would get a customized academic plan. So as I mentioned before, if you meet with one of our advisors, we would take into account all that you already have or all that you're planning on having by the time you transfer to USF. And then we can actually show you what it would look like for that next 3 years or whatever it would take you to finish and get your credential. That's just, it's incredibly helpful for you when you're making your decisions about what you want to do. Next slide. So the next step.
We have about 1 more minute.
Okay. The next step is to speak to an advisor. You can request information if you go to our website, and that would be, we would send it to you online. But, you've probably already figured out that it's not the most straightforward process to become a teacher in the state of California. So it's really helpful to speak to someone, whatever institution that you plan on attending. And if you go to the USF website and just put in UTech, UTEC, you'll get to our website, and you can just click on Speak to an Advisor and make an appointment. So I hope that you all find the perfect institution for yourself, and you do end up with your goal of becoming a teacher. Thanks.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, USF. Thank you for being here. Before I introduce our next speaker, I do want to tell, especially this group, that we had a financial aid workshop yesterday, Show Me the Money, and it will be on the website on Teach for the Bay with lots of good financial aid resources, specifically from financial aid counselors at a 4-year college, a community college, and then other specific resources. So take a look at that. You can view that on your own. So thank you, Mary. And we're going to move to our next speaker.
Thank you, Kathleen. I'll give you the cue to say, go ahead, Kathleen. So Welcome, everybody. I am Kelly Vaughn. I'm the interim dean here at the School of Education. And I want to start off by saying that we're at our university, we are at a place of transformation. We used to be a 4-year liberal arts college with graduate programs. And in 2020, we've actually changed our format very dramatically. So we are now primarily a graduate university with some degree completion programs that just recently got ramped up. And so what I'm showing you here in this slide are 2 degree completion programs that you are welcome to scan. And those are in business administration and in psychology. So the big $1 million question is, where is education? It is not up there at this time. And I want to say to that caveat that I am really glad that you're in this particular workshop, all of you in attendance, because the point of here is private colleges. What can we offer? And you've heard from REACH, you've heard from USF. They're great programs. And I would encourage you to look into the private colleges because they have some great benefits, and you kind of see the pattern in it, smaller class sizes, more customized. So, I encourage everyone to look into that in addition to UCs or CSUs. Go ahead, Kathleen. These are some of the features. All right, Monica, thank you for that affirmation. These are the features of our degree completion programs that I leave to you. And when you QR scan code, the 2 programs, they have these features in here. So my colleagues in the School of Business and Psychology can definitely help you further more in that. Kathleen, go ahead, next slide. So just want to warn you, there'll be a lot of animation here, okay? So what I want to talk about here that is very close to my heart is, go ahead, Kathleen, is what we're doing here at the School of Education so that down the road, if you're looking at a post-baccalaureate graduate degree, so exciting developments are happening. But right now, go ahead, Kathleen. These are our current programs, multiple single special ed and admin services. The asterisk represents the combination with, go ahead, Kathleen, with our MA degrees in education, in Teach English as a Second Language and Educational Therapy. That's our newest program. A lot of these programs are either in-person, hybrid, or fully online, synchronous or asynchronous. Go ahead, Kathleen. I'm going to tell you about some new developments that we're trying to be very relevant and cutting edge. So I invite you to either have this conversation with me or down the road when you're looking at a graduate degree. This is what we're looking at right now. Go ahead, Kathleen. We're looking at artificial intelligence. How do we incorporate that in terms of being a great resource with our K-12 districts in guiding and crafting policy, as well as amazing resources, safe resources that educators can use in their K-12 classrooms? Go ahead, Kathleen. Okay, we'll stop with that. Online learning, as I said earlier, we are looking at transformation. So we're making our programs more online and more accessible, including asynchronous online. But that's going to be tied into something that I'll share with you in a little bit. International outreach, we are actually currently working with educators in India. And that's part of our online realm where we're doing professional development with them. That's open to other interested students here at our university in the areas of special education and early childhood education. So this is opportunity, if you think about it, of professional development and collaboration that you could even delve further along when you get into that graduate degree. And then the last one, go ahead, Kathleen. Very close to my heart. Hopefully this will be a term that all of you prospective teachers will engage more and more. It's called social emotional learning. And we've got that's something that I like to embed as dean in all of these programs in the post-baccalaureate and graduate level. And if you're interested, I'm opening it up to interested educators. We're starting a social emotional learning symposium series with our university with featured guests, experts in various practical strategies or practical expertise of how you can embed SEL in your personal lives as an educator or in your learning communities. That could make some transformative differences in where you work and with the relationship of your kids. So if you're interested in that, go ahead, Kathleen. Last QR code, that takes you to my program or my school, School of Education. My contact, as well as my faculty's contact is all listed there. Feel free to shoot any one of us an email, and I'd love to carry the conversation with you further. Thank you. That is it.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for all the options. And sorry, I was a little behind on the slide advancement, but I see it was just one slide, lots of additions. So thank you so much. And then we have Edvance, and I think I have Amy, who is Amy or Alicia will be speaking for Edvance next.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy. I'm actually joined by a couple colleagues, so they might be jumping in here too. But Alicia Osborne and Anna Wolde Johannes are here joined together. But together, we make up our workforce admissions team for Edvance College. So we are, and I think hopefully if you progress to the next slide, it'll add in a new, oh, no, that's okay. So Edvance College, we are fairly new. You may have heard of us. We are a Bachelor of Arts in Early Childhood Education, and we really focus solely on you, the educator in the classroom. So we do this really well. We only have one program here at Edvance College, and we built it around you, the working adult in the classroom. So we're going to be talking a little bit today about high-level overview of what Edvance is, who we serve, and sort of the pathway. But I really would encourage you, if this is something that is of interest, and you're gearing up, ready to transfer, please attend one of our deeper information sessions. So I'll be dropping the link into the chat box in just a little bit, but this is just, think of it as a high-level overview. So we are a private nonprofit college online, and so if you click through, it's gonna, Kathleen, if you could just start clicking, that's great. Perfect. So we are an online college, but we have a really, really high-touch Zoom class time. So it is typically your schedule is about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from about 6 to 9 in the evening. And we do that for a couple of reasons, is we really want it to be a dynamic learning environment where it almost feels like you're walking into a classroom, but you can do it from the comfort of your home. Perfect. Yes. And everything is really relevant coursework. So we're going to talk about in just a second, but I mean, even a math class is catered towards you, the early childhood educator. So that next bullet point, the simplified transfer requirements. That's probably one of my favorite points of Edvance College, is we want to make this as simple for you as possible. So many of you have taken, maybe some of you at 50 units at a community college, and maybe some of you at 100. And we're going to look at all of the units that you've taken and really make this transfer requirement and process for Edvance as simple as possible. You're going to sit with an advisor really early on. If you are a year away from transferring with your associates, meet with us. Let us figure out a plan with you now. And maybe you're about to graduate in December. Great. It's not too late. We would love to sit with you and talk about ways you could transfer to us in January. So I put here that you could transfer into our bachelor's with as little as 12 early childhood units. So yes, and of course, thank you, Alicia, for dropping in the flyer. And so we really, again, make our transfer requirements as simple as possible. So in that next bullet point, you're going to see the earn the courses and course credit for working in an early childhood classroom. Huge part of our program is practice. So you're going to be learning Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in Zoom. And then what do you do with the information? We want you to pour that back into the classroom that you're working in and practice. And so you're going to get credit for that. You're going to get at least 3 units every semester. And when you meet with your advisor, we're going to show you sort of what that looks like in a semester. But we want to celebrate the work that you do every day, but then also practice the new concepts, theories, learning, that you as the early childhood educator, bring to the table. And then the next and last bullet on this slide is every course is centered around early childhood. I sort of started to allude to this, but I think the history class is my favorite one to talk about. Is you are not going to be taking just a general like US history. It will be, history through children's literature. It'll be math for early childhood educators. Really, every class, even if you have to take some general ed courses, are centered and fine-tuned around early childhood concepts. And so, many of you here on the call today are in child development, in early childhood classes. So let's make that really applicable for you and the learning that you do, and be able to take the learning and then put it back into the class, into your work, your job the next day. So we can keep on going because the next slide really talks about, okay, so you get this degree, but what is the cost? We at Edvance really work hard to make this degree as debt-free as possible. That's sort of what we are built and designed around, is supporting our students in graduating, like I said, with as little debt as possible. We do that in a variety of different ways, and you're going to sit down with us one-on-one and map this out together. So we will look at different scholarships that you might be eligible for based on your county or your employer. And then, Edvance College, we do a really great job in working with employers and counties and a bunch of different entities to be able to provide grants and scholarships back to our students. It really is a big sort of leading goal and mission and vision that we have, and really why we became a college, is to support our students all the way through and graduating as debt-free as possible. So today, what I want to leave you with is a big QR code. So if you go to the next slide, we do have starts 2 times a year. So in January, our spring start, as well as our fall, our normal fall, like August start. So if you are getting ready to transfer and you're getting ready to finish up that associates in December, reach out to us right now. I put my email address right here on the slide for you. Reach out to me. We can always do a deep dive around your transcript reviews, see what you have, see what pathway you would be on, and start building the pathway for you. So Alicia dropped our October information session flyer into the chat. I would encourage you to join so we can talk a little bit deeper around our program, expectations, and next steps. But if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm just so thankful to spend some time with you, and congratulations on moving your education forward and learning about how and ways to transfer.
Thank you, Amy. And just as a reminder, on the cover slot of this slide presentation are all the emails together. I think Alicia is on the cover. And the slide deck, as well as the recording, will be on our Teach for the Bay website shortly. So you can, if you forget to write things down, you can find everyone's name and their email address. It's on the second page of this slide deck. So thank you again, Edvance. And finally, we have St. Mary's College. And I believe that's our last college, so take it away.
Hi, thank you. My name's Monica Fitzgerald, and I'm the Associate Dean in the School of Education. And first, I just want to thank Teach for the Bay. I'm just really proud to be a part of this group of educators, and know that we're all here to support all of you on this learning pathway and want you to become the transformative teachers that our kids need. And so thanks for showing up here. I don't think there's any vocation that I am more proud to be a part of than teachers. So welcome. And so I want to spend a little bit of time talking to you about St. Mary's College and our pathways for teacher education. We got a grant from the state of California. We actually got 2 grants from 2018 and 2020. So I'm really excited about our program. Our undergraduate teacher education pathways for multiple subject and special ed run through a major called Justice, Community, and Leadership. And we took our old liberal studies model and really decided to embed a lot of foundational work around equity, belonging, and inclusion. We felt it's what our students needed to be successful in the classroom. We believe it's what our families and communities need out of teachers. And so it's a really lovely social justice program where everything you're learning is from that foundation. And the way we structured the curriculum for multiple subject and SPED, you don't have to take any CSETs. And so when you transfer in, you can get your BA and your teaching credential in multiple subject and SPED in 2 years. So it's a really fast program, but we really wanted to do it. One, we wanted to try and eliminate the problem of paying for a 5th year. Undergraduate financial aid packages are much better than graduate. And so also too, if you, for those of you that are ECE or child development, if you come in with 28 units and get your multiple subject credential, you can also add on your PK3. And that's true at all the colleges if you come in with that. So just know that, because that's a really lovely advantage. And I encourage folks who want to get PK3 to add on their multiple subject too, because there are ebbs and flows in the job market, and it's really nice to have that. Go ahead and do the next slide, Kathleen. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction to St. Mary's. If you can click on that, hopefully it'll play the little YouTube video, Kathleen. We'll see, it might not. Oh, no sound. That's okay. Yeah, sometimes I think I have to do something on my end. It was just a nice little video that kind of talks about our small class sizes, our social justice framework. And so, that's what the video is doing. And a lot of St. Mary's College, everyone has to do a community engagement. In the JCL program, community engagement is really embedded in how we learn. So we're out there in the communities as we're learning about these issues in the classroom. You can go ahead and change to the next slide. If anyone wants to see the music to the video, it's very good. So in the Justice, Community, and Leadership program, as I said, it's an interdisciplinary program with community engagement. And again, for transfer students, we have articulation agreements. So you come in and you can get your BA and your credential in 2 years. And then when you're out there in the teaching force, you can come back and get your master's in a year. And so again, you get that early field experience and a small class size. You can actually add on your bilingual authorization either as an undergrad or come back and do it as a grad. And so that's another really opportunity that we really like. Go ahead and you could flip that to the next slide. I got to follow along with you. And I think as you're thinking about your settings and everything for St. Mary's, we in our regular classes, we know that our teachers are there. And so we really we begin with self-reflection, right? Because I think that we need to really understand our own lived reality and our own internal biases and our own positionality in the world to then begin to understand our wider community. And we really take this view in our classrooms that we're co-learning and co-educating together. So we don't lecture in our classes. It really is very much everybody's co-creating knowledge and learning from each other. And I think that that's been a really lovely practice that students have been able to then take into their own classrooms, where they're really engaging in dialoguing and critical reflection. St. Mary's is a liberal arts college. You take a lot of the GE, or we call them core requirements, which also are really useful. So it's part of that core that makes it possible that you don't have to take the CSETs. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So the other option that we have, and this is just our second grant, is that we now have the opportunity to earn your single subject credential in the bachelor years as well. And for transfer students, it does vary a little bit on what you want to what your major is. But we have over 43 majors on campus that will enable you to get your credential in single subject. In the JCL program, it's quite easy to do as a transfer student to get your single subject. And while the state of California right now doesn't have a credential for ethnic studies, there's a new, as you may know, there's a new requirement that high school students take an ethnic study class. And we feel our students are really well positioned because of the kinds of education they get in the JCL classroom to be able to offer the opportunity to teach ethnic studies in high school, whether you're through English, through math, through social studies, all of those different SISTE pathways because of that grounding. And I think folks are going to find when they go into high school that there are a lot of teachers that aren't quite yet prepared, right? And so I really feel like it's you all now that are getting your credentials that are really going to be able to help transform the schools with that, with the ethnic studies. So go ahead and you can flip to the next slide. These are all of our majors that have an option to earn your single subject credential. Okay, so go ahead and you can flip to another screen. So I'm happy to chat with any one of you. We've had a lot of partnerships with community colleges where we really try to figure out ways to get students on campus, talk to our financial aid counselors. St. Mary's College is a private liberal arts. It is a LaSallian Christian Brothers based school with a very strong commitment to educating those from historically marginalized communities. And so we have a really kind of tuition is a lot, but we have a really high discount rate. We have a lot of scholarship money for transfer students. We have a really big initiative on campus. Our program alone received a $500,000 grant to really work with getting students, right? Because we know teachers don't make a lot of money. We don't want teachers to go into debt to become teachers, right? And so to be able to come in and do a pathway in just 2 years, I think is really wonderful. So we have scholarships for transfer students. We have scholarships, obviously the Golden State, some of the other grants that were mentioned. And for post-BA, we have several residency programs where you're embedded in school sites. So if you wanted to get your bachelor's and then get your teaching credential, those folks are actually, they're being paid as residents in these school sites to be able to get their bachelor's. So I think, you know, I continue to hope that the state of California continues to put more money into this. You know, there's a teacher shortage, but there, you know, our students, these kids in California, they need you. And so I know we're all working and advocating at the state level to get more money to pay for teachers to get into the classroom. So don't, I continue, please do all you can, keep talking, keep advocating for yourself. Don't think you can't afford it. I think for a lot of our private colleges, their financial aid offices really want to work with you. And so you also have to think about a lot of the colleges, a lot of us have these accelerated programs as opposed to, having to do something in 6 years. So I encourage you to, talk to all of us and any of us and continue to talk to your own counselors. But know that I think all of us here are just really excited that you want to enter this field. So, all right. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you. And thank you to all to our wonderful presenters for all these options that we have in the Bay Area. I attended a San Francisco State University multiple times. So a public college, but I've got a daughter-in-law that attended USF and St. Mary's. I've got another daughter-in-law that attended, and she's, by the way, a math teacher, and another daughter-in-law that attended Azusa down in Southern California. So people find their way to programs that fit their needs. So consider all your options. As I said before, take a look at our Show Me the Money video, which is on, will be on the Teach for the Bay site shortly, about financial aid. And I think just because a college looks like it's more expensive does not mean it's going to end up being more expensive. Some of the financial aid packages are pretty large. So, and there are growing numbers of financial supports for future teachers, including loan forgiveness, which I received, by the way, public service grant. I received loan forgiveness. Had to go to Washington, D.C. to testify with Elizabeth Warren, but I did get it. So it is possible. And I think things are getting better. There's also a committee working on apprenticeship for teachers, advanced apprenticeship, which means that you would be paid throughout your whole pathway. So lots of things are percolating. We have a teacher shortage. You are absolutely needed. And thank you all for being here. We might have 1 or 2 minutes for questions in the chat. And I'm going to get off sharing and I'll just look at the chat. Like I said, I have a hard time multitasking here. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat. I'm looking at it right now. And if not, I think we will sign off. So I have lots of thank you to the panelists. Yes, thank you to the panelists, and thank you also to our participants for being here.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, you take care.
Good. Thank you. I'm going to sign off. And I know we're supposed to do an evaluation, but I can't copy and paste. I can't be my own monitor. I'm just not capable. So if you have an evaluation form, fill it out. And there are lots more workshops later tonight, tomorrow, Saturday morning. So thank you for being part of Teach for the Bay.